Alright, the bell cranks are the first step in our parking brake assembly. It's a very simple mechanism consisting of 7 parts: the bracket, arm, boot, 2 bolts, 1 pin, and 1 C-clip. So if you're wanting to completely replace both sub-assemblies, you're going to need a total of 14 parts and 9 part numbers. If all you're doing is servicing your existing bell crank, at the very minimum you'll probably want to have a couple of these C-clips on hand and maybe a pin. The part number for the C-clip is 90213-06013. Here's a close-up, and here's what they look like after they're used, so make sure you have extras. The pins are 902490875. Have some grease ready. This happens to be some synthetic brake grease, but use whatever works for you. This is my right side assembly and this is the left. You can't mix them up because they're all marked. The only thing you do want to pay attention to is the orientation of the parts in relation to one another. For example, these are all facing up. Let me demonstrate. Normally what you do is take this arm and then you get some grease around this hole and maybe inside of it a little bit. I'm just not greasing because this is a demonstration. And then you'd want to put some grease inside of your bracket, and then it just slides on here, and then you'd maybe put some grease on your pin, and according to the diagram the pin drops in from the top down through the bottom, and then you're going to get your clip, and your clip would go onto the bottom of the pin here, and you'd take your pliers and just squeeze your clip into place. Now, as for the boot, it's impossible to put this on upside down as well, and let me show you, because it's form fitted, right? So you'll know it won't fit right if you put it on the wrong way. Let me see if I can just demonstrate it here real quick. It's kind of awkward getting a new boot over some of these little lumps and edges, or the irregular angles anyway. And you'll notice that the new boots are really, really tight. I think that's why you probably shouldn't be afraid to grease them pretty well. Okay, and there you go. And this would be the top with the loop pointing up, and this one happens to be the left side. Torque for your fasteners is 13 Newton meters or 9 foot-pound. And your bolt numbers are 9008011-601. Okay, let's move over to the left side, and I should mention that while I had the camera turned off, I did go ahead and put a heck of a lot more grease in here, because it is the rear axle of an 80 series Landcruiser, so it is going to go scuba diving. It's going to live quite an aquatic underwater life. That's my guess. All right, we got one in. Now that wraps up the 7 parts that make the main body of the unit. But wait, there's more. Once the bell crank is mounted to the dust shield, you still have 8 more parts consisting of 3 part numbers. As you can see, we have our springs here, which are 90506-20033. We have our stops, which are 47639-30020. And of course these little lock nuts, which are 94110-40600. You want to begin with the stopper so that you're not fighting against the springs. Next is our lock nut. There's 2 springs per side. We're going to start with the top. Just get it in here like this. There's a little hole here on the dust shield to hook it into. And now the bottom. So there you have it, complete bell crank subassembly. Thank you to Chris and James at Earnhardt Toyota, and stay tuned because next up is our e-brake assembly.